Hey everyone, this is Zealous here, reminding you about the March of War. This is an Armored Core Verdict Day World Mode event for PlayStation 3 players, going strong for the entire month of March. Here's the breakdown. For starters, register your team at ArmoredCoreLegacy.com. During the month of March, if your registered team battles alongside an ACL Merc and wins, or defeats an enemy team containing an ACL Merc, you'll gain a point. No points are deducted for losses, and your team can sign up anytime before the final week of March. At the end of the month, the team with the most points will receive a custom emblem, as well as 5 PSN store cards. Keep your bookmarks locked on ArmoredCoreLegacy.com to catch all the details and updates regarding this event. See you on the battlefield, and have a great war. Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to the Raven's Voice. This is Zealous here with Tierson.
Yeah, guys, hold on. Zealous has to watch a video real quick. Hold on just a second.
He's been hounding me about this.
I'll do the show for a couple minutes, but no. He won't watch something because it's got blood in it.
You know, just makes me uneasy, and Tierson knows this, but he still pushes this kind of content. Don't ask me why. Cool guy.
Yeah, blood and clowns.
Yeah, for those of you that are comic fans, we had some nerd talk before we started up here. You know, we got Spider-Man 2 about to come out. There's some fan work, some fan films I have not seen. And apparently, I have committed comic heresy by not seeing it. So we'll talk more about that later.
It's bad. Guys, if you haven't seen this yet, it came out a couple years ago. It's freaking awesome. It's the best fan-made film ever about a comic book, about a comic book character, really. You know, so what happens when professional industry professionals get together and make something that's called Dirty Laundry. Go look it up on YouTube, all one word. It's about the Punisher. Yeah, I'm not a huge Punisher mark, but this is fucking awesome. You need to see it, and he needs to see it, and he won't watch it because there's blood in it.
Too much. It's too much.
Somebody gets a finger scratch. Okay, guys, let's see. Go to ArmoredCoreLegacy.com, the most active forums for Armored Core. Go to our website if you're not there right now listening to this. That is theravensvoice.com. And email us at ravensvoiceacl@gmail.com.
Right on. Plug to infinity. So here we are. We're, again, just a short note about community events here. We're in the later parts of March of War here.
Again, yeah, that's going on, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still rocking. It's been a busy week for some, you know. If you haven't been able to stop by and check things out in a while, I recommend that you log into ACL or just visit ACL. Check in on the thread. You know, we have constantly running tally of points. Things are still going strong. Definitely teams we didn't have back in War for November are really pushing to make an effort that we see at this point. So whether you've missed out on a few matches, if you're just getting in now, or if you're Merc and you missed a few, hey, hop in. You still got time for this thing. You still got time to jump in and enjoy it. So.
Well, yeah, it's just, you know, fun. You know, here's the thing. I've been busy as hell. And in fact, as of yesterday, for over a week, I had 2 additional people in my tiny 1-bedroom apartment here for about 8-9 days, and so that kept me very, very busy. So, and now it's cleanup time. It has been cleanup time. So that's why I haven't been around. Plus, I've been watching Dirty Laundry back and forth.
On loop. You've had that on repeat, man.
It's worth being on loop. You guys need to go see it. I'll shrill for it. I don't care. Hashtag Dirty Laundry.
Yeah, all right. Got the plug behind it. I like it. So, fun stuff. But yeah, you know, we had that, and then I was checking into the thread that we had posted for our TRV topic this week. Thank you for everybody that posted. Special shouts to especially Not of a Show, Avalon, Mari Shirin, aka Margarine, Avalon 5, Darkling Vlad, and Ozzy, and Dickhead7. Thank you.
I love all the fun names, and then Schlong7.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I don't know if you've been in many other spots, but I actually saw it's kind of cool. I think I saw Mozzie just this week during the event. Just played with him. I think he has a DBZ emblem Majin Buu, Super Buu, I think. Fun to see you posted, but thank you. Some fun thoughts. Our topic this week is
Oh,
autonomous weapons in AC. Autonomous
don't go
weapons.
into it
I'm
yet
just
because
gonna
we
say the
have to
title.
talk. Okay, we have to talk about. Speaking of titles, you have a stalker and an impersonator.
Yes, yes we do. Yes
We
we
have to
do.
talk about this because I think that's funny because I mean, you're obviously the weaker part of the show, so I don't
Oh,
even know
for
why.
sure, man. I mean, I don't know why I'd even bother with that. I mean, no, no. As I was mentioning, we got our main topic for autonomous weaponry we're going to be talking about this week, but I'm not going to forget that we said we were going to have fun with this one. Uh, yeah, fun, super important point to mention. I have an imposter slash admirer, and I'm honored. But sir, you're missing two legs. You're missing two extra legs there. It's you're running a lightweight biped. But yeah, someone has done a quick impersonation of my PSN and also my Merc listing. They've taken like the ACL logo that that we use for Mercing. And it's kind of funny, it's a little distorted and out of proportion and everything, but yeah, it's just pretty brazen, just straight up, just zealous Midwest. Apparently I'm a blue lightweight now. I run piles and some other real fun things like that. I just abandon quads and all that other good stuff, and I've had a personality change. It's funny, this was posted in the March of War thread. Oblivion Doll was mentioning, oh man, I bet that's Zealous just trolling. That's probably him in an alt account.
I'm reading about this a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
There was a spelling error in the fake ACL emblem.
yeah.
You
If
fucking
you
dumb
see
shit.
if you see the bottom of it, in fact, it's circled in that screenshot. This is in the thread. If you just look near the last pages.
Look
Uh,
at, I'm not seeing this.
no, it's go to the one right before. Chang actually made a post about it, and he was speaking about it. He sent a forewarning out about it, and there's already been the other
They got to be
note. So
careful with that. I mean, look, I'm not trying to be like, hey, don't do this. No, but seriously, like we work with Namco on these events.
yeah.
They'll ban your ass for this.
Well, and I mean for PSN, like impersonations, like period. I mean cutesy as things may be, yeah, you will likely take a ban for stuff like this, especially as it gets reported. So, but
Oh,
yeah.
I see it now.
Now
This
you
is
see it.
awesome.
Yeah.
That emblem. Oh my god. I mean, obviously they tried to actually take some time to fix it, but it's horrible.
Yeah.
They absolutely had no idea how I put that together because I'm the one that did put together the ACL emblem, and so obviously I know exactly how it works. Wow, that's just some cheap garbage right there. It's just a misspelling. I mean, how do you spell that wrong? Armored Core Legacy is everywhere. It's everywhere. When do they use a K?
No,
Is it a K?
yeah, you could be hooked on phonics. I don't know. If anything, it's just a delightful troll. If anything
No,
else, so
I love this. I think this is
yeah.
great. This is awesome. And kudos to the people who actually did this just because I mean, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. Haven't seen. Trying to see the last time I saw something like this happen. Just community wise. Again, I didn't play online for a whole lot. I followed the forums during that time, but didn't play a whole lot online then. Even during Kai, I don't think I remember many things like this, if at all. There were rage quits and plenty of table flips, but nothing like that. So funny, kind of funny and out of the blue. So
No, it's interesting because obviously they're not very good at making emblems or the alphabet. Um, but also, obviously they don't pay attention to who they're trying to mimic. I mean, everybody pretty much knows you're a quad guy.
well, apparently some don't listen. They're like, oh, this zealous guy, yeah, bipeds and piles, sure.
No, I've not been around like I should be, and I'm that's a shame because I probably would have gotten a lot of laughs out of this as it was happening. So I kind of have to deal with a lot of it coming in after the fact, but which sucks. I just missed out on a good time. But I guess so. What do we think was the reason for this? What was the end result? What was the goal?
Well, if anything, there's been some things thrown around and hashed about clues of exactly who started and who it was, but I mean the zero sum in game of it, it's goofing with the event. Some people were saying they hired said Merc, assuming it was me too. Shame on you, not even a quad. Come on now. And if anything, it just monkeys with things. So obviously, we have our, registered people that who report, and we keep this, very tightly noted. It's not like, oh, just welcome this guy and he can report points and you earn points. No. If anything, it's kind of fortunate. Maybe he threw some matches off where people could actually hire one of the registered ACL mercs and whatnot. So it's silly monkeying with things. So keep a close eye when you hire people. You don't know when you run into small discrepancies like that. So look closely who you hire, where you hire, and make sure if you're going for points that you're actually hiring someone that can net you points. The other
Right,
way around.
right. And
So,
if you're gonna copy me, you'll probably do better than me. So thank you for that. Um, and I'm sure you did better than Zealous. So
all day, all day. I mean, clearly. I mean, so good. No, check this out. So good. He even cut two of his legs.
dude,
Pretty impressive.
this is great. This is
Yeah.
the best. We're gonna have to spend some more time on
No,
this
we
because
will.
I
We
know
will.
tonight. Yeah,
I,
I
I've
want to get. Yeah, we're gonna do a quick show here tonight, guys. But this is this is awesome.
no, and I will say, again, salute. And all of my years of playing AC, Kai, before even when I started, I've never had such a fun impersonation like that. So
Yeah, I've never been
funny to see.
impersonated in Armored Core.
Funny to see.
Uh, I had a couple impersonations every now and then when I was in WoW because I was a raid leader and a guild leader. So, that happens. Those things happen when
Right,
you're an
right.
established guild. But um, this is awesome.
Yeah.
It's almost like this whole scenario is a satire because it's just so
It
bad.
is. It is. That's the fun part about it. And again, yeah, I think we're gonna see as things go on. We're gonna see how far this thing runs. Or if Zolva just gonna die out immediately. It'll fun to see. It's gonna be fun to see the end result. But this is one. This is one I'm gonna be taking with me to the history vaults. Fun stuff. I didn't think I'd
I'd
add
get him
something
in
on
the
the pile.
crew. Bring
Yeah,
him in.
let's
What?
talk to
He
him.
obviously wants to be a merc. What is the whole thing about being a merc for the event is to help the event, but
Mm,
you gain nothing from it. Oh, wait, I guess I
right.
have to take that back. I don't know. Maybe there was some kind of what do they call it?
Consolation prize? No, I'm just kidding.
No, 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 no. I can't think of the term right now. Boosting. Maybe there was some effective boosting, and they wanted to hide it. Because they had other mercs in there and stuff. And
You've pretty much hit the nail on the head. That's been what's been talked about a lot.
but
About the
it's
whole
just so
boosting
bad.
scenario. Yeah, it is. It is.
You've got a K in there, motherfucker. What the?
And brazen at that. Good, goodness gracious me. Goodness gracious me. What a posting to see. So this will be interesting to follow. Through the end of the month. We're almost there anyway. For the closing of March of War. But wow.
It's awesome.
So.
That's so great. Thank you if you're listening. Thank you, sir. I hope I see you out there.
Yeah. Oh man.
I'm gonna be looking for him too.
Right on. Right on. So, here we have it as we were kind of talking about through this thread here. I mentioned at the earlier part of the show, autonomous weapons in AC. We posted, we were asking you guys a little bit about what were some of your favorites from orbits to EOs to auto-seeking missiles. What have you really enjoyed over the years? And this is always a fun thing to pan back to. So, we're obviously going to look at what people posted, and we're going to take just a short
Yeah, I
walk.
should do that.
Yeah, we're gonna take a short walk through the history of it. I say let's do the history walk first. I think it's gonna be brief. We'll look at the post because it's kind of cool. The post kind of we jump all over generations with that. Um, I think it's best just to go where these things started. Armored Core 2 was the first time we had autonomous weapons introduced, okay, of any type. And I think one of the most memorable ones people can immediately point to are the orbits. Okay, now there's two, and Darkling Vlad actually talks about this later, but the orbits. It was a dual back unit that launched orbit cannons, and this was neat for AC because obviously during AC1, MOA, Project Phantasma, there was not a weapon like this, and the idea was you launch these autonomous pods, and there were energy weapons that just honed into your opponent and just harassed them, just harassed and harassed.
That's right. And oh wait, no, we were talking about something else. Oh, those things were. Oh, they were mean.
So it was really fun, the kind of mind games you could play with people with these. If anything, depending on the way you use them and the rest of your weapon layout, you could really corral your opponent into other, devastating setups, depending on what you were trying to do or what you're aiming for. Those of you who played like Another Age, you might remember there was a 2-on-1 arena mission, and one of the ACs used the Samurai dual blade arms and then the orbit back units, and just one of the many fun combos you could do with these. And this idea of smart weaponry was a pleasant surprise, really. Here it is. You don't have to get a full track, a full double lock, or locking like a homing missile. If anything you fire, you let them go. They speak their own voice, they do their own thing, and that's all that's to it. These were immediately attractive, in a lot of ways. I mean, you can see why.
Well, there's so much going on when you play Armored Core. I mean, anybody who's seen somebody try it out, and you've been playing for a while, and they get their hands on the controller, like, and their brain almost like has an aneurysm right there. Especially in Gen 3, but.
Oh, for sure, man.
So for something to do your job for you, at least a little bit, yeah, it was very attractive, very cool.
Definitely. So you had, the dual back orbits with, I believe, 18 shots on them, and it was interesting. They weighed about as much as they drained, about 1,300-ish weight, about 1,000 drain. But on the flip side, you had solid ammo, you had missiles. Those were the pursuit missiles. Now these babies are going to stick with us for a while, up through especially the rest of the AC3 generation. The pursuit missiles were, again, a dual back unit that fired independent pods of missiles, and you'd launch one pod that would split into a massive volley of smaller missiles, and those missiles would automatically go and seek in on your opponent. Now, they didn't have infinite range, okay? That's the caveat. You'd still have to be within a certain range for them to catch their lock, or else you'd fire them, they just go off in every direction like a starburst. You'd miss. Those of you who might remember cheesing your way through AC2, there was a strategy to abuse these a little bit at Abandoned Highway, standing right on top of the initial starting building, waiting for your opponent to come at you, and just releasing 2 pursuit pods to get a huge amount of damage off right at the start. The other fun use for the pursuit was, screw it, I don't need to lock on. You just hit you in the face with the pod of missiles, which was always really funny because it dealt a ton of damage.
We would try to do that. I remember Gimpy and I tried to do that in Gen 3 a lot, and it's like they were basically one-shot kills.
Oh goodness, they hurt. If anything, now they would spike your heat out the roof, obviously, when they hit you. Were you running a light design? I know I haven't seen a one-shot by these guys yet. They were brutal, but they'd usually set you up for a kill pretty quick. I mean, it would count as though each missile in the pod had hit you. I think it would take 2. So regardless, I
don't know. This was 2 million years.
It was 2 million years ago, BC, right?
Guys, I'm going to be honest, guys. Like I said, I've been super busy. I have not researched anything for this show. I'm going off what has been declared in the show many times, my horrible memory. So.
And, we get it too. But the fun part is we got you guys to bounce things off too. There's some things that we're going to get to in the post that you guys made, some great points that you brought up to that we're going to go over, and some things we both forgot. But yeah, the beginning of autonomous weaponry there, and things that really didn't need a lock, and this was just going to continue. AC3 built upon this. We didn't lose orbits, we didn't lose the concept of these missiles, but we gained something pretty darn awesome, and that was the EO core. We spoke a lot about EOs during our core show, but here was another case of autonomous weaponry, and this time it's stored right in your core unit. EO is popular for tons of reasons. Whether you're carrying extra ammo, if you want to use an energy EO for a replenishing source, you want that extra punch for your AC, maybe for some extra solid damage, all of it's there. And again, not something that you have to track and lock with. And these things started off as definitely more inaccurate when they were first introduced. But later on, especially as we narrowed down in the AC3 series, as we got to Nexus and the others, they started to definitely pull a little better on the tracking. Highly noticeable in the E2 core for the MG, Selena core, and some of the others later. They'd all followed the same track. And then we had some evolutions. I'm still talking a little about the orbits here. We mentioned way back on the show that we had inside orbits that also came out during Another Age in AC2. It was important to note in AC3 we had a single back unit. Orbits are no longer limited just to the dual back. You had the single. And the fun part about these was that they also worked in conjunction with your extension missiles. So All kinds of extra combos, things you could do. I ran the OC-15 on my staple design for both AC3 and AC3SL. Loved them to death. Just really fun things to have and run around. And I don't know, did you ever mess with Orbits a whole lot during SL, Tierson, or did you kind of skip over
Yes.
them? You loved them too? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They were fun. None of my. I think I had one build that had them for a while. When I had that build, I'm like, all right, that build is done. I always messed with them though. They were something that they always just hit the cutting room floor as far as the final build for an AC. Um, or I
Right,
would scrap the AC that they were on soon after. I never found them to be the most effective, but
right.
they were fun, and I used them a lot. I really tried to keep them on a build.
Yeah, they were. And they move so quick. The funniest part about them, regardless of how fast your opponent was, no matter how fast the overboost, they had an almost instantaneous track. They just follow you wherever you're going across the arena before they, end up fully dissipating. So always really, really cool to see. Again, that would continue. We'd build upon these things, and by the time we were in the late, AC3 generation, we had an OC-15 back, and we had an OC, 30 later on that stored more too. So you had a lot of orbital options. It's funny though, all of this though, when we go up to AC4 and splat. Goodbye orbits. Good,
Oh, you're going to four already?
goodbye. I'm jumping, man. I'm moving.
No, 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 no. Something to note about the missiles
Pursuits.
that you were talking about. What are they called?
The extension missiles that I was mentioning
No, no, no.
before.
The missiles. Choose out the big pod
Oh,
and
the
then a bunch of
pursuit missiles. Yeah,
the
yeah,
pursuit. So thank you very much.
yeah.
Those were a lot of fun, especially useful in Gen 3, where you would have something on, it put you overweight, you shoot it, you dump it. It was always,
Ah,
and if you get
good caveat. Yep,
free
yep.
damage, that's awesome. Otherwise, no big deal. Your build wasn't set up for it anyway. So, it's something that even nowadays is kind of lost. But because there's so much balance that has to come into your build nowadays. But
True.
yeah, but that was a cool thing as well. So yeah, I think that needed to be noted.
Oh no, it did. No, good catch. Starting with your overweight loadout. We had a few brief notes about this before too. Another other popular weapons like Hydra 2 with 4-shot extensions for the start, a massive missile volley, and then go ahead and drop. You get your free damage, so be it. If not, whichever else. All kinds of strategies to deploy, attempt your free damage at the beginning, but pursuits were definitely a popular choice with these. And I'll tell you one that I ended up seeing later since we're on that topic. In Ninebreaker, the Echidna 2, this was the single back unit pursuit. And instead it didn't take both slots, it was just one and same idea. Launch a pursuit missile pod and then, it split itself. So occasionally I'd see that, ran at the start when you had that overweight buzzer going off. Fun
And then
strat.
when if you had part there in a couple of those for Gen 3, there was part pickup, and that was something that you could bring in. And if I remember those, I mean, those are some heavy motherfuckers to pick up. People wouldn't
Yeah.
just pick those up if you left them. That was something that you could maybe grab
Yeah.
later.
They were big. The bulk of these, you always had to save your weight or your space for where you want to equip these, because bear in mind, you use this, that's your back unit taken. That's
Hmm.
a very short ammo count you're going to get, so make sure you're making use of that slot and just ask yourself, well, would I want a missile pack there instead? Very situational, but very, very fun. It never got old watching that whole pod split or just hitting someone with the whole box. So
Hitting them with the box. That was always awesome, especially when you occasionally did get it. That made it worth it. When
yes.
you very rarely actually hit them with the whole thing. Yes, I will now use these for the next 5 months.
And all of a sudden you became a Pursuit exclusive hero and you were going to go make tutorial vids on now. It's good. Man, fun stuff, fun stuff. But again, unfortunately, this was these were thrown out the window as we hit AC4. And
And
it,
Thor fucks it up again.
yeah, and autonomous weaponry in general. EO core is gone. Orbit weapons, at least portable ones, for ACs like the ones we'd had before, lasers, they're out. Pursuit missiles out. Honestly, I look back to AC4 and the real, just essentially autonomous weaponry. I think of the Sol Dios units that you ended up attacking. Those of you who went through the missions probably remember near end game, we reached the Sol Dios unit, and they used these huge independent Kojima pods. And they'd fly around and shoot huge like particle lasers at you and things like that. And felt like a real tease. It's like, I used to use something like you. I had you mounted on my back. You were a lot smaller. You didn't quite shoot laser streams like that, but you were portable
Pew!
and you were lovable.
Oh, well,
So,
there's nothing in 4 that's lovable.
or cuddly. If anything, looking back though, I kind of question, how would autonomous weaponry have done in such a high speed environment with what you had in 4? I felt that AC3, AC2, and even now, 5 are really at the proper pace to incorporate weapons like that. Whereas, with 4, it was, honestly, so it was such a speed game and about carrying your weapons on the fly, hitting hard, fast and hard, and good mobile movement, keeping your quick boost chains going, second staging and all that other madness. Yeah, not too sure how much that really would have fit anyway. But then I say that, but then you look at not just some of the boss units, right? But you think of that, even how some of the old laser orbits used to function. They were not bound by the conventional laws of speed. For ACs. I mean, those things were just instantaneous. If you relocate across the map, they'd be on you, like white and rice. And you'll remember this from AC5 Verdict Day recently as well. Our spinning boss, I think as Chang likes to call it, makes use of a type of orbital weapon anyway that surrounds you.
Yeah, that's a
So
fun fight.
that was a
It's
lot
not a
of
hard
fun.
fight, but it's a fun one.
It was, certainly was. So we really, again, we really didn't have a whole lot coming out of 4 with these things. Really just kind of lost, except on many of the boss units, and this one's kind of just glazed over. And honestly, from there, we walk right into 5. Here in 5, we get a new type. That's the sentry, and different types of
Sentries.
sentries at that. Yeah, lots of fun. You got your laser sentries. Your so CETEKE, obviously for the 3 types of attack. One of the most noted ones is the missile sentry. This was used a lot during early 5 as well. And the Phoenix, especially for its awesome range and pseudo radar ability. We talk about this a little later, but uh, it was kind of great because usually, especially if you had a missile sentry on, they would start attacks before something would come usually in your range before you get a lock. So they may give you an alert, and it was always hilarious to look at these things on a full Sentry FCS team or a full was it Okairi? I have that right? I'm probably getting my names wrong, but it was a full team with the sentries and deploying. It looked like storming Normandy or something. Like it was ridiculous.
Really? Was it effective?
It's super effective. No, we're not playing Pokemon, but
What?
nothing. I'm just jumping random transitions here, man.
You went
Um,
to a completely different nerd level than I'm in.
totally did. I'll go with that. But I can't say this was just an awesome strat to deploy for teams. Now it was really funny on some turret setups and some maps where you had it, where you could literally just blanket the field with missiles. That level of cooperation out of your whole team, though, everyone willing to run that FCS with those specific, let's face it, that's not going to go down all the time. But even when you got a couple of sentries out, they were still, a good constant pressure game, to keep going. So
Mm. Well, and I don't remember this in any previous game. I mean, you have the pursuit missiles, but in 5 and Verdict Day, we have the missiles that you shoot out, normal missiles, and they'll just lock onto something on their own.
yeah, the AS missiles, which are
Right.
really fun, in and of themselves. If you want to put on your hoodie and feel like Nine Ball Seraph and
What the fuck?
go ahead and make an overboost assault run and drop some AS missiles. Just feel good about yourself, raise your self-esteem. That's always a thing to do. But yeah, the AS missiles, as Tierson's mentioning, they do have a separate function from the others. Instead of having to get your hard lock, you simply fly, in the vicinity of your opponent and they track. This is most noticeable in the AS weapon arms. I'm sure you've seen these that fire that enormous swarm of missiles that will track your opponent. Um, so yeah, definitely, they're present in AS missiles. They're present in the sentries that we have, and it's pretty cool. I think where they base these for 5, and like
Oh, your shoulder-mounted auto guns.
yep, and the auto guns. That's another one.
Ah, I knew there
It's
was
another
something
good.
that
There you go.
I use those too.
The
I
auto.
was, anyways.
Yeah, the auto guns. I remember early AC5, and people were first getting into it. Were examining over weapons. They said, hey, an auto gun. If you activate, your over weapon, you'll still have your auto gun going the whole time. Keep that in mind. It's something you can use to base. Or if you want to set up with sentries and auto guns, you want to just go crazy with the auto firing. Yeah, there were a lot of experiments with these early on. 5 that people spoke about. But yeah, another example of a weapon with a lock of its own that you do not have to manage, that you simply activate and let go. It's that simple.
Yep.
So, um, some of this comes down to map choice as well. An important note with sentries, which is really cool. This is the first now. The sentries having infinite ammo. Very interesting. Now, I remember when I first saw the previews of these things, I said, I wonder what's their ammo count before they dissipate. But they don't. They sit there and they just become barnacles if they
I did not know
destroyed.
that.
They don't stop. They don't stop.
Wow.
However, it's super easy to screw up the deployment of these if you're not paying attention. If
Right.
you're, flying through too fast, you want to just fling them ahead of you, they'll blow up. You want to throw them at a bad piece of terrain and batting, they'll blow up. There's some careful deployment. You can set these things well. Or you can set a speed trap for someone running at you with the T's. Things like that. All kinds of, fun uses. And, I can't say I've really seen people deploy the KE or the CE turrets a whole lot. It's normally laser turrets or missile turrets, if they are seen. And for reason. You can see why. But still, that's where we kind of sit with these in 5. So, yeah, looking at this comprehensively, brought to us in AC2. Now back with 5, after a bit of a hiatus from 4, and we've got some thoughts kind of all over the field with these. We had some great posts this week. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
And covered some ground about all over. And Tirsten, you were interested in kind of reviewing some of these. Let's just open up that thread and let's just kick up at the top. I think
What?
for the TRV thread for this week, we had I think Darkling Vlad was our first poster.
Yeah, but I think we covered all this.
Yeah, we talked through. There's some we skipped over. I covered
Okay.
specifically. I talked a bit about Avalon's. Covered some of what Darkling said, but there's some other stuff in here, like I know what Mari mentioned and a few of the other things.
Sure. I will start with Darkling Vlad.
Yeah.
Basically he says, yeah, he believes that AC2 had both the EO and auto missiles, well, the pursuit missiles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where it started.
Yep. He talked a little bit about the opening cinematic of AC2AA. Good catch. I'm pretty sure this was one of the few openings that we actually saw the an autonomous weapon used. There was another, and we'll get to that. I think someone below mentions that. Um, yeah, again, auto missiles, that in your post you were translating that to pursuit missile, and then EO, I'm sure you were translating that to orbits because
Yeah, I think that's what he meant.
Yeah, EO drops in AC3.
Right. I know that. That's what he wrote.
This guy.
That's what he wrote.
We go on, and in Avalon's post, he talked about AC5, and in Verdict Day, about the use of sentries as pressure weapons, as pseudo radar. We kind of hit on a lot of these ideas, and I think we kind of covered the gist
In
of that.
5, I used the AS missiles on my tank to help me figure out where the hell people were, because tanks were a hell of
Yep,
a lot more mobile, but sometimes you get one of those fasty guys just zooming around you, and they worked as a deterrent to get away, but at the same time, they also helped me figure out where the hell he was.
exactly. So, all kinds of uses. Rarely you'll probably see them today. I know especially from March of War, I haven't seen any. I'm not surprised if I don't.
I
But
use them.
yeah, which is great.
No, I was using them. I don't use them
There
anymore.
you go. There's a really funny post. I don't know if you got a chance to see this vid that Marty,
Margarine.
yeah, that Mr. Margarine posted from Last Raven. It was from JP version, basically an exploit against Zenaida round 2. I believe this was the hardest mission route. Zenaida was frustrated that she didn't get to deal with you during the first mission, where she issues a personal challenge and sets up a similar scenario, the same map actually, and you end up getting interrupted by a pulverizer, and she ends up leaving. And it's kind of funny, the first thing people do in this mission is just go hardcore and just engage her, but this player just grabs the Yastio orbit unit and just gets undercover and just releases them and just lets them do their thing. It's pretty funny.
It's pretty cool because by Last Raven, those are some obscure fucking parts.
Yeah, they are by this point. I know there's a lot of talk going into LR about viable back units, especially for tournament play, and a lot of people would center around like Nymphy Gar2 combo. Nymphy, I believe, being the yellow single slot six lock back missile, along with I still call him Gar. I can't remember the LR terms for them, but the pink extension, locks to basically give you a solid amount of locks and volley and everything. But it's funny, orbits were largely dismissed from that conversation, and I really smiled looking at that vid because those back units specifically, like, never saw people running those.
Very rarely.
It's by that point, in Last Raven, we had so many parts, we had such a huge part pool, and it's still cool to see, such a huge range of ACs available there that you can pick up something, still goof around with it, and find a really obscure use or something to do with the part, and it was there. So, but yeah, he issued credits to AI 00000 for the funny bit, whoever that is. So, he gave a link to his YouTube channel if you wanted to check out any other AC viz and some other goofy exploits potentially. As far as others, let's see,
Nana talks about the orbit cannons, and he gets a little reminiscent and gets a little teary-eyed about them. He was using the Sawa, and then we got Dickhead 7, love it. Talks about EOs and Last Raven.
Mm-hmm. He also makes that mention about equipping optional parts to make your energy weapons fire faster and obviously increase the attack power affecting your EOs. Not to mention the recharge. Important point. Very fun. It's easy to think of these as autonomous. Oh, the rest of your parts won't work with them. No. I mean, these would synergize with your optional parts. And optional parts, where are you? We want you back so bad.
That's right.
Man, the more we have conversations about these little nuances of AC, the more I think it's seen these things did. So yeah, hit it.
If you bring back optional parts, guaranteed sales will jump for Verdict Day. Guaranteed. They are just. I think they are just enough to bring back a lot of nostalgia for people and want to play the game. Do it now. Do it. We'll do it live. That's an inside joke.
Yeah. If anything, their return would be pretty awesome. The optionals always gave you even further customization for a theme you'd already built on your AC. If you wanted to spec specifically for firing rate, you could. If you wanted to go whole hog and just go crazy and increase the damage and decrease, the energy use, per deployment, that was all there. But yeah, that was all on the table. Depends how much you want to devote to it, but dearly missed. Dearly missed. And yeah, lastly, we pretty much wrap up with Mousy's note about an SL era, the TE autocannons, and also the blades that release the TE wave projectiles.
He brings up the blade. I don't think the blade counts.
Yeah, because blade, I mean, you actually had an activation and a swing, for that, and
right.
I mean, even though you would deploy a wave, and we talked about this before, like the blade that deployed the triple wave, like, sure, you have that, but in a way you still have to kind of send that in a manual direction, where you want to fire it, so it doesn't do its own thing.
I think in large part what you're seeing of a huge connection between all these is that it's doing the aiming for you, basically. Yeah. It's doing the processing of attacking the target for you. Where some with like the orbits, you had to lock and then shoot them out, but then they're following and they're targeting from there. The blade, I mean, even more than anything, the wave projectiles from blades, that was some of the hardest shit to aim. It's kind of like the opposite.
Yeah. So, and that's
I can see where there could be a little bit of a connection to it, but
we're
kind of we're on a different level with that.
Right.
Not a higher or better level, just a different one.
Yeah. That's the thing to keep in mind with these. So, hey, you know what? If there's any missed via this discussion, if there's any we've missed, love to hear your ideas on that. Try to go over these pretty thoroughly, but you know what? In fact, if we even hit them all, any other war stories you got about these, post them up.
Always fun.
But yeah, would love to hear your thoughts. Share your matches where you've seen them, had them used against you, had your face bashed in, or you were endlessly pursued. I know short one out of my book, my buddy Dragonis that used to go to me with the Midwest events, he hated Orbits with an intense passion because he hated them.
I remember having to hear like a 10-minute rant from this guy about this thing, and I'm just like, shut up. Learn to dodge, motherfucker.
Exactly. The idea is they weren't a lethal agent, when they're employed. But some people, they got in their head really bad. Like,
Oh,
and it's
jeez.
funny, I just deploy 3, so I'd have 5 total rounds of
You were
these.
an
But
orbit guy for a while.
yeah, AC3 and SL, I just adored them, especially because I had a technique with them, the trick of using your extensions with your orbits instead of firing just 2 volleys, to get a full 3 launches of your extension volleys off with the orbits if you did your presses right. And it was really funny because that looked like you had a missile launcher going, and then all of a sudden your opponent would start getting harassed with orbits. And for some people, it was just a thing. They just couldn't deal with it. They got too focused on the lasers that were following them, and they lost focus to you. And that's when the GNL comes in the face. And the rest. So, uh, lots of fun.
GNL just comes all over your face.
Plenty you can do. Plenty of strats. I did. Okay, man, we're gonna have a rough vault, man. Between my quotes. Oh my gosh.
Double fingers in your slots.
Golly.
Got to go back to a return show from the Christmas break for that one. That really happened. Zealous really said it's not like we're asking for double fingers in our slots. That's the thing.
And you perved it. Only you could take a discussion about the WA finger and optional parts and equip slots and make it into what you did.
Yo, I don't think that needed to be perved by me. I'm pretty sure that was already perved to begin with.
Yeah.
That was just.
But in any case, looking forward to any posts, any thoughts you guys have. Thank you again for tuning in this week. Stay tuned. We're going to have our upcoming topics posted as they come up, and we'll be looking forward to hearing from you guys. So till then, take it easy.
Hashtag Dirty Laundry.
Hashtag Dirty Laundry. Be sure to watch. I'm going to go watch it now because I haven't seen it. So besides that, you have a good weekend. All of you take care and get out there for March of War. Have a good one.
Yes. All right. See you later.